Welcome back to Gumbo Limbo Science Session. I'm Christy, and today we'll be discussing force and motion. I'm here on the Atlantic Intracoastal in a canoe to demonstrate how force and motion work. So what's the difference between force and motion? Let's start with their definitions. Force is any push or pull on an object, like opening or closing a door. And motion is the process of moving from one place to another. If you want motion, you need force. An object in motion will stay in motion unless another force is introduced. Let's take a look at examples of force and motion. Now remember, force is any push or pull of an object, and using my canoe paddle, I'm going to create force by pushing the paddle away from me while it's in the water, creating motion or moving from one spot to another. Now, using my canoe paddle, I'm going to create force again by pulling the paddle towards me while it's in the water, again creating motion, moving from one spot to another. Where there is force and motion, there is also friction. Friction is a force that acts against moving objects. So the more friction present, the more force needs to be used. If I paddle in the opposite direction the water flows, there is friction, and I will need to use more paddle strokes and work a lot harder. The water is actually flowing north today, so I'm going to paddle in the opposite direction. I am creating friction, making it easier to splash my camera person. Another example of friction is if the wind is blowing against me. That creates friction in which I have to paddle harder to move against the wind. Ugh. Ugh. Whew, that was hard work. Now, forces can be balanced or unbalanced, but what does that mean? When forces are balanced or the same speed or strength, then there is no movement. So if I paddle just enough that I match the speed of the flow of the water, I'm going to stay in the same place. No movement forward, no movement backwards. So what if it's an unbalanced force? That means one of the forces is stronger or faster than the other force. That's an example of why I don't take my canoe out in a hurricane. The wind would be way stronger than me, and I would end up being pushed along with the wind. So that's all for this science session, and remember, if you want motion, then you need force. So may the force be with you.